But I just wanted to say, Halloween's back. This event sucks. Isn't that fun? But it's finally happened. Finally! Nerfs! It's a miracle. I know there's more detailed notes out there, so I might go look. I believe those are over here. Random. I believe... Not you. You. Was it you? I know Spraggles also had them. Maybe I can just look there. Ah, here they are. Yeah, so there's some detailed patch notes here. Let's go through the small ones here. So, Mewtwo has finally been nerfed. Not the X one, just Y. Just Y. Critical hit rate has been removed entirely, so they now have 0% crit rate throughout. Which, yeah, that makes sense. Special attack starts the same, less growth, so they have slightly weaker less late game for special attack. That's fine. Future Sight affects weakened. Future Sight Plus affects weakened. Increase to damage dealt has been reduced by half. So Future Sight, the damage buff has been halved. The damage itself has not been halved, but I think it was also affected by its own buff, so that might still be reduced. Recover. Shield amount decreased by 25%. That makes sense. Mewtwo Y really didn't need a recover shield at all. Movement speed increase halved. Good. Again, didn't really need it. Mega Gauge increase decreased by 50%. Excellent. I feel like it was bugged because it definitely was. It gave you way too much. Like, and yeah, I would say about double. That's about right. I would say. So that fits. They also Blizzy catching some strays here. Same problem that Confe had, where it's just, oh, they're the support of the week. Gotta nerf them because we can't nerf the characters that actually need it. So Blissey has caught some strays here. I don't know if we have the. I do have the details here. So we've got. It's Thunder with the subscription. Thank you so much. Thanks so much, man. What are you doing? Let's see. Helping Hand. For some reason, my controller is. Let's see. It finished the update, so I can no longer look at the patch notes. Isn't that fun? Helping Hand. This moves attack speed. Chicken over buff. Let's go. That's going to be a sight to see. Safeguard, shield weakened. Safeguard plus, shield weakened. That's wild, because that's exactly the nerf last time that made it basically worthless. So, willing to bet that it is now just fully worthless yet again. But, maybe, I wonder if this means that Rescue Hood is not worth it on Safeguard. Now Safeguard the shield is just worthless. It's just, you dodge one stun now. Worthless. That's fun. Basic attack speed increase from Helping Hand has been nerfed by 10%. Movement speed increase has been nerfed by 10%. Now they're both 25%. So that's interesting. And Safeguard has been decreased by 10% to start with, and 15% later on. Between levels 5 and 15. Interesting. And the Bliss Assistant shield decreased by 20%. That makes sense. Bliss Assistants did really make you tank. So we will see. But it is bad because they keep making all the actual supports. They just keep nerfing all the actual supports. There's barely any actual supports in this game. After this nerf, there might not be any left. This is frozen, so I'll just go in. What else do we have here? What are some? Let's spoil some of the other changes. Yeah, the Blaziken I've been hearing is really strong now. So looks like we've got a bit of a change here. Early defense, Torchic defense has been buffed a little bit, just about 20. So pretty hefty buff. 20 defense, 10 special defense. The rest of the late game stats are the same. Blaziken didn't need it. I don't feel like Blaziken needed it either. I feel like it was very balanced. So, Hey, the Halloween music is back. Get out of my screen. The Halloween music is back. Hey. That's pretty. But I'm not gonna cry about it. Ooh, this looks schmancy. And laggy. You can use 20 Halloween coins to exchange for capsule. Once you exchange 40, you can obtain a special reward. You can chain all rewards if you exchange for 95 capsules. There's a view rewards button that you can't get to. You actually physically cannot get to it. You have to press the button. Alright, cool. Special reward, the background. What are some rewards? Sticker, frame, junk. Is the rest of it just junk? Yeah, looks like it. Yep, the rest is junk. So there's a frame, there's a sticker, and there's a background. That's just about classic. I'm fine with that. Log it every day. Yeah, you have to do a Halloween event. Let's go. And they nerfed Safeguard. Ah, true. They probably nerfed Safeguard because this was coming up. That does track. That does track. Although they're probably gonna leave it, so such is life. Hey, I actually get to get this on stream. I was saving it just in case. There's the frame. Nice. 3 battles, extra storage, and these I will never get because I have no friends. Now where? Okay, that seems to be that. Wrong one. Wrong button. Pressing it. There we go. I can finally read this. Alright, so Lapras! Lapras is a big one. Shell armor, shell armor. What got changed over here? What got changed? Boosted effects weakened. I like that. I like that. Shell armor effects weakened. Thank God. That passive was busted. Thank goodness. Parasong damage decreased. Reasonable. That did way too much damage. So the damage reduction for the passive is down 5%. Very appreciated. 20% damage reduction. That's insane. Basic attack. HP recovery 3% down to 2% of max HP. That's quite a bit for a character with like 10,000 health. That's like 200. That's like 100 health reduced per boosted. It's quite a bit. It's quite a bit. Parasong damage reduced by 20%. That is a hefty nerf, and it needed it. I am good with that. Leafeon! Leafeon got touched. They were the only good speedster left. Let's see what happened. Emerald 2-step, damage decreased. Unite, recharge move increased. That is rough. That is devastating. Now, mind you, Solar Beam, Razor Leaf, they were still really good moves. But that was the only thing keeping them in the meta, is that ult. That is devastating. Damage reduced by 10%. Pretty hefty. Energy needed increased by about 13%. So it is no longer like an Umbreon ult, which I hope they also nerfed. Please God, tell me they nerfed that. Not the ult really, but the character. Although I would very much appreciate it if its passive didn't have such an incredibly short cooldown. Its passive is way too short. Its passive cooldown is shorter than some move cooldowns. And what else we got here? Urshifu, thank God! Surging Strikes. Oh, and they have less defense at level 5 is what I'm reading here. Let's check the notes. Urshifu, here's the big one. Urshifu stats have been nerfed. Stats at level 5 are now 50 lower. He has 50 less defense at level 15. And I assume that will linearly or geometrically or in some fashion decrease proportionally with level. So late game is worse. I appreciate that. Very much appreciate that. Their late game was stupid on both of them. Surging strikes, damage reduced by roughly 13%, between 10 and 17 from 5 to 15. Makes sense. It did a lot of damage for no good reason. For just how many... That's for how many... For how often you can use it. HP recovery, 3% of max HP down to 2% of max HP. That's fine. Any nerf helps. I guess that means that they want to keep him having like obscene cooldowns, and that's fine. I'm still sad that they nerfed Leafeon's cooldown. That's rough. That's kind of the whole point, is that you ult all the time with EVs. Honestly, if anything, I thought they were gonna buff Sylveon's ult cooldown. But also it heals so much, I guess you can't really, can you? Shame. That's a rough nerf for Leafeon. They were like the only good speedster anymore. Now I guess it's just gonna fall back down to Zoroark again. Because Umbreon, I don't see any Umbreon nerfs here so far, and that's still just gonna obliterate Dodrio. Even Dodrio's ult can't get out of that, so if you see a Dodrio coming, you just mash Mean Look and Dodrio dies. That's rough. Absol! Attack has been adjusted. That seems like probably the best stat to change on Absol. Making him tanky would be ungodly. So attack... level 1 attack is the same, but late game attack is up by about 60 at level 15. So that's a pretty hefty attack increase late game, and that's when he needs it. He definitely doesn't need an early game buff. Sucker Punch cooldown is down by 1 second. That's fine. Want more stun in the meta, why the fuck not? And Unite move, charge rate increased. Gauge needed reduced by about 25%, so that is a hefty buff. That is a hefty buff on the ult. And that's like Absol's best move, so damn. We'll see where that stabs them in the meta, because it's probably gonna be pretty high. That's a pretty hefty buff. That's a hefty boy. Decidueye Razor Leaf buff! Let's go! Attack speed increase strengthened! I love it. I love you. Let's go. Let's fucking go. Knock Knock, Unite move, charge rate increased. So you get ult more often, that's fine. The Razor Leaf, but it's massive. Also, according to this patch, apparently the stats were changed. I don't know if this was removed before they had it go live. But the patch notes I'm reading here say that they got an early... that Rowlet got a defense buff and a special defense buff. But it looks very similar to another character's... It looks a lot like Blaziken's defense changes. It's 20 defense and 10 special defense. So I don't know if this is a misprint, if they retconned it, or if it just looks the same as other nerfs, because a lot of the nerfs have been the same. So maybe they just did that? I don't know. Can't tell. I'm not streaming. No one's streaming. Shush. So maybe Decidueye is more tanky. Maybe they're less squishy. Hard to tell. And Knock Knock got a 26% reduction on energy requirement. So pretty much the same as Absol. That's a hefty buff to Knock Knock. Appreciated, but eh. There's really only one instance where Knock Knock is all that helpful, and that's objective pressure. Ray and goals. That's about it. Ray, objectives, and goal. But you can use it to get the speed buff to get away slightly faster, so maybe that'll be helpful now. Leafeon ults is 100 seconds. Pretty rough. 112. That's some hefty changes. And here's all the Blaziken stats that I already mentioned. But apparently there's some new stuff that was not mentioned. So Torchic got the defense and special defense buffs. Apparently there was a bug affecting its passive. Apparently there was a bug affecting Fire Punch. Unite move, cooldown reduction, I believe we've already mentioned. Yeah, so movement speed increase has been strengthened, appreciated. Moves attacks increase has been strengthened. And both of them have had cooldown reduced, which is going to make them an absolute monster. Right, like the ult having a shorter cooldown is just so many moves that you can just spam. Which I'm okay with. I'm okay with that. I really want Blaziken to be able to just mash on you constantly. If anything, that just increases the skill ceiling a little bit. CGI is 112 too. This is some hefty ult buffs. Mew! I'm guessing has been nerfed. It's been a long time coming. It's been a long time coming. I'm still playing Mew though. The amount the following stats increase at level up has been adjusted. Recovery effect strength. What? Can I find this in here? Do we have this in here? We do. From level 9 onward, now recovers HP equivalent to 12.5% of damage dealt with special attack. I can't say that was a huge deal. It bailed me out of a situation now and then, but... That's cool, I guess. Everyone's spamming you now? Yay. Boosted attack, moves attack increase has been weakened. I didn't know if that was a big issue, but sure, it makes sense. You get it so often, why not? Boosted basic attack damage increased by 10%. Shit, he only Solar Beam you. Well, that's not fun. Damage increase each time the ball of energy flies a set distance. From 5% down to 4%. Okay, so the range on the attack is slightly less valuable. But it's not like that really matters. You're still gonna max range it as much as you can. But now it's not gonna be worth it to like eject button to do it, although it never really was. Boosted basic attack damage increased by 10%. I don't see that on here. It says the boosted attack increase has been reduced. Once again, maybe they changed things. Who knows? Solar Beam cooldown reduced, didn't need that. Solar Beam plus, move downgrade. Sure. Better early game, worse late game is kind of weird. Light screen cooldown reduced. We have stats here. 1.5 seconds off of early game cooldown. Solar Beam, nope, and it's late game cooldown too. They both have 9-second cooldown now. But now Solar Beam plus, the cooldown reduction when it hits is gone from 0.7 seconds a hit to 0.5 seconds per hit. So you spam it slightly less often late game, but it's still overall better. That's crazy. Of all moves to get buffed, Solar Beam was not the one I was expecting. Light Screen has gotten 1 second off its cooldown. Wild. It was already so good, but you did end up in a lot of situations where if it wasn't in sync, you were kind of just boned. So, I'm fine with that. I'm fine with that. Solar Beam is that's a wild buff. That's wild to me. And interestingly, they didn't say Solar Beam plus cooldown reduced. Normally they would say cooldown reduced on both. If they reduce the cooldown of both. But now it only mentioned it for Solar Beam, and they just expect you to assume that it will apply to Solar Beam plus. Snorlax getting a change. This movement speed decrease has been weakened on Flail. That's a good change. I like that change. Movement speed increase 70%, 14% decrease every 0.5 seconds. Now is a 70% with 10% decrease every 0.5 seconds. So that's a similar change to something in the past. I can't remember exactly what. I think it was either T-Tar or Machamp. Or maybe it was Sableye. I don't remember. It was somebody that had a long movement move. I'm okay with that. I like that change. Submission Machamp. Was it Submission Machamp? Yeah. That was a good buff on them, so I assume it'll be a good buff here, too. Power Nap. What do we have here? Unite move charge rate increased. Interesting. So you get it back faster, rather than the other ones which have been just a shorter cooldown. You don't get it back any faster. This you get back faster. That's fine, because I feel like Snorlax, the ult isn't that impressive, other than the amount of health you get back. But now that we have like Slick Spoon, now that we have the cursed items, finally, now that we have, you know, like special attackers, I feel like that's a warranted buff. I feel like that buff is fine. HP restoration increased, same thing. It's supposed to heal you to full anyway. So like any amount that they increase the HP recovery is kind of moot. Energy needed decreased by about 20%. HP recovered increased by about 20%. So it's like guaranteed to be a full health now. And Cramorant getting a change. Is this going to be one of the first... Is this going to be the rare Cramorant buff? Fixed bug? Fixed bug. Nope. No, it is not. It looks like we've got some info here, though. Dive. Fixed a bug where additional damage was not dealt by the boosted attack after dive was used. So this is just damage up. This is a buff. Fixed a bug that caused launched Arrokuda to continue to flop around for longer than expected. Thank God that one's gotten rid of. That's so annoying. The Arrokudas last way too... They just hit so many things. It's like a Azumarill Water Pulse. It's insane. So hopefully that's gone. And apparently we've got Talonflame over here, but not in here. There's no Talon in these patch notes. So once again, might have been retconned. Not sure. But the patch notes I'm looking at here say that Talon did get a bug fix on Flame Charge Plus that prevented them from going through walls. So maybe that's fixed. So that is hype to see. Those are some good changes for the most part. A couple of wild ones, but not as much as usual. They have made the mistake of buffing Absol again, so I can only imagine that's going to go poorly. But at least they didn't buff any of its moves, except the ult. The ult could be a problem. We'll see. A lot of the top tiers got gimped. Not Inteleon, because they're getting a battle pass. Go figure. So that's not any better. The only other top tier I think I would have liked to see a patch on is Umbreon. Not sure how that one slipped through the radar. Even with Lapras being broken, Umbreon was still busted, so... Blissey's caught a stray here. That's unfortunate. Mostly good changes, though. Maybe enough to actually enjoy... the game a little bit. Oh, and just casual update in case anyone was wondering. I did finish reading the One Piece manga. Gear 5th is awesome, and I think it gave me a heart murmur. I think it fucked up my heartbeat. Anyway, bye.